So you're thinking about making a move to Metro Detroit, okay? You've done the research, you've watched the videos, heck, you probably even got Zillow open on another tab right now. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what Zillow is never going to tell you. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Meldrum with True Living Group, and my team and I help people just like you guys make that move here to Michigan, and we absolutely love it. You know, we've got your back when doing so make sure you subscribe to the channel to learn about all things living here in Michigan. So I'm going to walk you through 7 things that actually come up with families after they move here, okay? These are not deal breakers, and I don't mean to spoil the video, but this is just stuff worth knowing. So let's get into it. All right, so winter, and let's just get this one out of the way really quick. Yes, it gets cold here. It snows November through March. You know, it can feel long, and I'm not going to lie about any of this. We're in the middle of it right now. We're in January. It's in the dead of winter, and yes, it does get cold. We're going through a whole entire winter storm as we speak. But here's the thing. The winter itself is not what usually gets people, okay? It's more of the adjustment to the cold. So if you're coming from a place like California or Texas or Florida, you know, you're going to feel it for the first year. Your body's just not used to it, and it's going to take some time to adjust. But the reality is many of you guys adjust a lot quicker than you think. You know, you get a good coat, like an actual good one, okay? Not the one you wore like twice in San Diego, okay? You figure out a routine, and honestly, a lot of families tell me that once they go through the first winter, they actually start to really appreciate it. And the thing that I appreciate about winter personally is having kids. There's so many memories that are being made. You know, the girls are asking for hot cocoa for the first time. You know, they want to get out and build snowmen. They want to go sledding. They want to do winter things. Like my daughters love to go out on the deck, and they dared each other to go out barefoot, you know, a couple times. I'm like, yeah, go do those things. Like that is the fun stuff in winter. So if winter's been weighing on you and the thing that's kind of been holding you back, like I totally get it. You know, just know you will adjust a lot quicker than you think. All right, so next up, I want to talk about the suburbs in Metro Detroit. And here's something that I think might surprise you guys. Or maybe you're just like, yep, this is kind of how it is where we live as well. But most families end up in the suburbs in Metro Detroit. And I don't mean like strip mall suburbs, chain restaurant suburbs. I mean actual towns. I'm talking about places like Birmingham, Northville, Plymouth, Rochester, Brighton. You know, these are the places that all have incredible downtowns. Okay, if you want kind of a small town feel or maybe an upscale feel, like these places actually have downtowns. Okay, this is where walkability is really going to be a factor for a lot of people. If you want to live downtown and be able to walk to coffee shops, you want to be able to walk to bookstores, restaurants, parks nearby, or if you want to be in a neighborhood in a city where kids can actually walk to school or ride their bikes to school, okay? Or you're just looking for the community. And just know that not every suburb in Metro Detroit is created equal, okay? You have the cities like I was just talking about with the incredible downtowns, and then you got cities that were really developed in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, and I call that the inner ring of Metro Detroit. And these are the cities that really don't have a lot of personality, okay? These were just overflow, and everybody was moving out of Detroit, and they were just stacking houses on one another. Okay, this is what people needed back then. They needed homes, okay? And there's nothing wrong with them. Those are good communities. They are now entry points for a lot of first-time home buyers that are stepping up. So what I'm saying is it's important to know what suburb you are getting into. Now, if you want to go downtown Detroit and you want to go to the Wings game, you want to go to a concert, you want to go see the Tigers, most of the time people are just commuting in, okay? Most of the families and people live in the suburbs in Metro Detroit. Okay, so let's talk money because this is where things start actually working in your favor here in Metro Detroit. Now, it's a given that homes cost less, and that's not equal for every single city. And I've done other videos on that. I'll do deep dives and we can get into specifics on our call with home prices and cities and all that. But the whole entire thing, when we look at a cost of living, that's what really matters. Okay, we've got to include the house, car insurance, gas, your electrical bill, your utilities. You look at daycare, right, for the kids if you need daycare. What are all the whole entire cost of living? But here's what really gets me, and it takes me back to when I was living in California. You know, I've seen families, including myself living in California, go from barely saving anything to moving to Michigan and starting to put away a few $1,000s a month, same salary, okay? Just way less money going out the door. But here's one thing you do need to watch when buying a home here in Michigan is the property taxes. You know, they vary a lot depending on which suburb you pick. You know, some places are as reasonable as 1.5%, and other areas are pushing 3%, you know, for property taxes. And over 30 years, That's real money. So when you go back to that Zillow tab on your browser, don't just look at the house price. Look at what you're actually going to pay every single month, including the taxes, the insurance, all of it. All right, so if you're a remote worker, this one's for you. If not, you can skip on to the next chapter or sit through it because, maybe you're looking for remote work in Michigan and it is available. So, it's all relative, but remote work, this is where the whole conversation changes. And because you're not tied to an office anymore, you can literally work from anywhere. So that Silicon Valley job that you have, or, being on the West Coast, like maybe you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, I got this job, but I don't really have to be here. I don't have to live in this area anymore. And we've helped so many people from like New York and Chicago, which, we see a lot of boomerangs. Okay. So if you're originally from Michigan, you're watching this and coming home, you're like, okay, I did it out on the West Coast, or I did it on the East Coast, but now I'm ready to come home and I have a remote job. This is where the sweet spot really comes in. This is where you are going to put so much money in your pocket. And the more and more people that are figuring that out, they're just coming home and realizing they can have their childhood like I did. And this is my story. Moved out to California, came home, and the family ties are something that really pull a lot of people back. Or you start having kids, or your mom and dad are getting older and now you need to come home. And when you run the numbers, you start to realize this makes a lot of sense. But also know you're not just settling moving back to Michigan, you're optimizing your life, you're optimizing your finances, and you're making smart decisions. So this next one is all about the schools. And if you've got kids, this is probably the one that you're thinking about the most, okay? Now, here's the deal with Michigan. And Michigan has some really good schools, especially Southeast Michigan. You got cities like Northville, Birmingham, Rochester, Plymouth, Canton, Ann Arbor. These school districts are really good. Okay, they're legitimately strong schools, high test scores, kids do really well. There's a lot of extracurricular, a lot of great sports programs, a lot of great STEM programs in all these. You can go look these up on niche.com or greatschools.org. Those are always great resources to go see what other parents and other families, are experiencing in those schools. But I'll link those in this description down below in the video so you can check those out. But this is what matters, okay? Not every school district is the same, okay? You can drive like 10 minutes and be in a completely different school system with a completely different outcome and be right next to one of those great school systems that's right next door. So you can't just say, yeah, I'm moving to Metro Detroit and assume that your kids are going to be in great schools, okay? You got to pick the suburbs based on the district and not just what houses you like. And we talk about this quite often when we meet. I bring you back to lifestyle. What are you going for? Is schools important? Is the community important? What do you want to be around? And then we can start narrowing in, because if you start looking at homes, you're actually doing it wrong. Okay. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but you're doing it backwards. Like you're looking at homes, trying to determine which homes you like, but you don't even know if you're going to love the community. So do your homework on this one, or better yet, just schedule a call with me and my team and we'll walk you through it every step of the way. And if you do have questions, drop those in the comments below. I answer all those personally. All right, so moving on. This one's a little bit harder to describe, but I want to talk about the culture. Okay, the culture here in Metro Detroit is like something I've never seen before. And I grew up in it. I live it every single day. And what I mean by never seen before, like I go other places and feel out of place sometimes. Okay. And you might kind of know the feeling I'm talking about. If you visit somewhere for the first time, you're like, people are just kind of weird here, or I'm not really vibing with it. I feel that way leaving the Metro Detroit area. And it's the weirdest thing, like in the UP, people are different. In Metro Detroit, people are different, but we all kind of have the like common sense of community, common sense of just being nice to one another and helping out your neighbor. We say weird things like, oh, we hold the door for you. I made other videos about that. You can go check those out. So if you're not somebody who grew up in Metro Detroit and you're coming here for the first time, here's what you need to know. Now, things do move a little bit slower, okay? People are friendly, like actually really nice. Okay? I get that a lot from people who are visiting. They're like, wow, people in Metro Detroit are just so nice. Like, I can't believe how nice everybody is. So if you are used to a bigger city where you can kind of just put your head down, be anonymous, and just kind of drift through the city, where everything's kind of fast paced and everyone's in their own little world, moving here to Metro Detroit and any of the smaller cities for sure, you might feel a little bit quiet, maybe too quiet for you, but give it some time. And I think you find a little bit more peace in that quiet. But on the other hand, it's not for everybody. If you're somebody who needs constant stimulation, you need the sirens and, the loud noises and people all around you all the time, you might get restless here. But if you are tired of that, Metro Detroit could be exactly what you're looking for. All right, so last thing, and this one's super important, so stick with me. Now, when you move somewhere for the first time and you're not used to anything, okay, you're in a completely new city, completely new home, completely new environment, okay, you're probably gonna have moments where around month 1 or month 2 or even month 3, you're wondering like, oh my gosh, did I make the right call? And this is the point where the excitement starts to wear off. You know, you haven't really made friends yet. You're still trying to figure everything out. Maybe it's February and it's gray and cold. There's no sunshine and you're missing all the warm weather that you came from. But just know that is totally normal. Like everybody goes through it. Okay. It doesn't mean you made a mistake. You know, spring comes around, you start meeting people, your kids start making friends in school. You realize your bank account's actually starting to grow a little bit. And by 6 to 8 months, you're in your rhythm and you really can't see yourself going back at this point. So if you do hit a rough patch, don't panic, just give it some time. And as promised to you guys, these are 7 things that you're not going to find on Zillow, not looking at homes, not just scrolling the internet, trying to figure all this out. Okay. And I'm not trying to scare you off. You know, I'm just trying to prepare you. And if you are seriously thinking about making that move here to Metro Detroit and you want to talk through whether it makes sense for you, not just the real estate part, but like the whole decision, you know, I'm happy to chat, no pressure, no sales pitch. All you got to do is go down in the description. All my contact information is there. You can call, text, email, send a pigeon carrier. I don't care. But the best way to get a hold of me is to book a call on Zoom and we can talk through what makes the most sense for you. And if you're not ready for that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I make videos every single week just like this, so you can actually learn what it's like to live here in Michigan. And when you're ready to make that move, we'll be here. So thanks for watching, you guys, and I will see you on the next one.